I'm Kathleen Costello, and I received my breast cancer diagnosis in January of 2017. It's an amazing journey, and I always refer to this as my cancer journey. Nobody prepares for it. Nobody wants to choose this particular destination, but it is a road that you'll travel, and I kept telling myself that the path of least resistance, the best way through it, the easiest way through it for me was just there's no way through it but through it. So just choose a straight line and just walk. The interesting thing is how much I learned about breast cancer going through this journey. And the things that nobody tells women. It's my duty to pass this along to other women. All of us understand the importance of mammograms, annual screening mammograms, but that's the key word. Mammograms that most of us are familiar with are screening mammograms. So a screening mammogram, the kind that most of us are aware of, is looking to confirm that you don't have cancer. It's a minimal test, and the assumption is going in, this person's cancer-free. In my case, 12 years of mammograms ended up being false negatives. That conclusion that there was no cancer was not correct. It wasn't until January of 2017, doing my annual women's wellness exam, that I said to my gynecologist, one breast just doesn't feel the same as the other one. Breast self-exam didn't find anything that they tell you to look for in a breast self-exam. My gynecologist's exam didn't show anything. All of those years of mammograms didn't show anything. But I said, it's just feels different. It's a little bit denser than the other breast. But based on that, my gynecologist said, okay, I'm going to send you for a diagnostic mammogram. I'd never heard of such a thing. So in a diagnostic mammogram, they have a different assumption going in. They assume going in that there is cancer, and it's their job to find it. They still didn't see anything, and they were comparing 12 years of results. But because it was a diagnostic mammogram, they then sent me down the road, down the hallway, to get an ultrasound. And in 30 seconds, the ultrasound detected a 4-centimeter tumor. It takes a long time for a 4-centimeter tumor to grow, so who knows how long it had been there. The tumor was very deep and close to the chest wall, so chances are it would never have been detectable with manual examination. I learned in that exam that women with dense breast tissue specifically must please insist on 3 different kinds of examinations on an alternating basis, because no one of them will detect a tumor in dense breast tissue. So the 3 different types are mammography, ultrasound, and also MRI. So no one of those tests will detect all cancers in dense breast tissue. So you must insist. And they're not going to offer it to you. That's the thing that I learned too in navigating the healthcare system. The doctors and the imaging centers and the insurance company are all operating within a set of parameters that they agree upon for their fee basis. That doesn't allow for the imaging center to say, hey, you know what? You have dense breast tissue. You might benefit from ultrasound. They can't offer that to me. When I asked why, they said, well, ultrasound could cost $200 because insurance doesn't cover it. Well, in hindsight, I would much rather have paid $200 out of pocket years earlier to have that tumor detected before it became invasive and a much more complicated case than it had to be. So I want to tell women to be your own best advocate, your own breast advocate, because the professionals that you're going to encounter are constrained. They're not going to offer it to you. Another thing I found really, really critically important was empowering myself to choose my healthcare team. Most of us just go where we're told, and we take whatever answer is given to us, and we follow whatever plan is laid out for us. I'm here to say that I interviewed 3 surgeons and would have had completely different results. One of them would have removed all of my lymph nodes just preemptively. And she said, you can see a plastic surgeon down the road when you want to. I interviewed a surgeon who had a much more thoughtful approach, and she was part of a practice that was solely devoted to breast cancer. And so I felt I had an advantage in that all of the members of my team were in the same practice, and they were only dealing with breast cancer, and they could all consult on my case in real time. I had the benefit of following her surgical plan, even though I resisted at first, because she was saying she could remove the tumor with a lumpectomy, which would have reduced the volume of one breast. And she said, I think it's important that we go ahead and do a reduction on the other side as well, just so you achieve some balance. And I said, who cares? It's cosmetic. I don't care. Why involve the other breast? And she just kept going on. She knew her field, and she knew her patients, and at her recommendation, I agreed to it. And again, because of the benefit of that practice solely dedicated to breast cancer, my surgery involved the plastic surgeon and the breast cancer surgeon in the same operating room at the same time. While one was doing the reduction on the healthy breast, the other was removing the tumor on the cancerous breast. But here's the thing. The miracle of it is that when they did a biopsy on the tissue removed from the healthy breast, they found precancerous material too. So in one surgery, I was saved the potential of a whole second round of breast cancer treatment down the road. So grateful. Know your medical team. Empower yourself to choose them and interview them. This is the most important consumer decision you'll make in your life. I have to say, it was a gift. And a coworker in the office next to mine, when this first started, she was about 4 months ahead of me in her journey. And she said, one of the most amazing things is you get the benefit of some amazing positive attention. She said, I never realized how much I meant to my coworkers. That's a gift. Let me tell you. And that's where the support of my coworkers comes in. I got unlimited, boundless support and encouragement from them. And by the time I was no longer able to come into the office, I would get cheering up cards in the mail from them and phone calls. So what I want to say to my colleagues here on campus is break down that barrier. And go ahead and reach out to people who are going through a journey like this and offer them your support and compassion. It doesn't have to be anything more than just a cheery little note about something silly that just happened in the office that day. But knowing that you are well thought of and that you are missed is a great gift that you can pass along too. I found I had a superpower when I had chemo, and it's this little beanie that I wore all of the time. And the little beanie, no woman wears a beanie covering their whole head except when they're in skiing, right? So walking around town, going through my daily activities, it was a signal to people about what I was going through. But it was also, as I said, my superpower, because it allowed me, without even trying to, just by being present in the world, wearing my little cap, to tap into the deepest humanity and compassion in people and generosity. Somebody picked up my check for breakfast once at a restaurant. I didn't even know it. Twice people in line at the grocery store just, turned to me and said, I'd like to pay for your groceries, and then just simple, common acts of kindness knocked me out. I'm Kathleen Costello, and I am a 20-month survivor of breast cancer, what my surgeon called plain old breast cancer.